So remember when I said I was going to lay off the Star Wars villains a bit for Legends of Evil? Well, kind of lied. But don't worry, this will probably be one of the a few Star Wars villains I do for a while. I know I've said that before, but yeah, I just felt like really talking about this villain because today, as of this recording, that is, I was just kind of really reading some. I was really just kind of in an Exar Kun kind of mood. Yeah, he's one of my. For those who don't know, he's one of my favorite Sith Lords. So I was like, you know what? I've been reading a lot of Old Republic stuff, and I was kind of reading some comics about Exar Kun. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do a villain spotlight on Exar Kun. Now, Exar Kun is an interesting character to talk about because he's both a Sith and not a Sith at the same time. Here's the best way to explain it. He is a Sith Lord. Let's not, even though he doesn't carry the Darth title, but he is considered a Sith Lord to his peers, but he's not part of the Sith Empire at this time. Remember, the Sith Empire was kind of like in the shadows right now. They were believed, during those 300 years before they sacked Coruscant with Darth Malgus leading the charge, they were kind of beaten and broken. They were defeated. But really, at the time, they were just kind of, waiting and biding their time. So, yeah, in the meantime, anyone who claimed the title of a Sith Lord was usually a fallen Jedi, and one of those was Exar Kun. Now, Exar Kun was a Jedi who craved more knowledge. However, the other masters were kind of like, he doesn't seem like he's interested in knowledge at all. It's more like power. However, before they could reach out and stop him, what happened was Exar left. Exar left, and he traveled far and wide, even so far as Korriban, but he basically traveled to several Sith planets to gain knowledge from them. One of those planets, he encountered the spirit of Frida Nad, a great Sith Lord in and of himself, who also was a fallen Jedi, who, helped him along with other other fallen Jedi, other Sith Lords, and helped him gain power over the dark side. From there, he was, at this point, he had, basically embraced the dark side, almost fully at this point. But it wasn't until he traveled to Yavin 4 to extend his knowledge. For those who don't know, Yavin 4 was once a Sith-controlled planet. It was once, it was more or less where Naga Sadow, the Sith sorcerer, pureblood Sith sorcerer, traveled to in exile and created a race of beings called the Musashi to serve him. However, Friedenad kind of passed away in that time, but his spirit still lived on within the Sith temples of Yavin 4. It was there that Exar Kun encountered the Musashi when he arrived. They captured him and proceeded to try to sacrifice him to a Sith worm. It was in that moment that Exar fully embraced the dark side, and that he enslaved the Musashi. It was also that he discovered an ancient starship, Sith starship, and it was then he got the bright idea. He was like, I have a planet, I have an army, and I got a ship. I should take over shit. And that's kind of his thought, that was kind of Exar's thought process at the moment. He was more like, I'm gonna go take over the world, because that's what I'm gonna do. So yes, proclaiming himself the new Dark Lord of the Sith, Exar Kun proceeded to take his Musashi warriors and begin enslaving planets as the new Sith Lord. However, in one of his encounters, he encountered a race called a cult known as I'm forgetting the name. I'm forgetting the cult's name, but he also, in that time during the battle, he encountered another fallen Jedi called Ulic Qel-Droma. Ulic Qel-Droma had attempted to take apart this cult, which, again, I'm sorry, the name's escaping me, but he attempted to take apart this cult from within. However, he ended up getting corrupted by it, and Ulic became one of their prized members. His story was similar to Exar's. During the battle between Exar and Ulic, they fought to a draw, and Exar pretty much said, you know what? You want to come join me? And that's kind of how it was. Their armies joined together. Ulick became Exar's apprentice, and Exar became the undisputed Sith Lord. Now keep in mind, this was before the Rule of Two was established. So this was kind of like almost a precursor to the Rule of Two. But yeah, Ulick and Exar proceeded with their two armies joined together. It became known as the Brotherhood of the Sith. And from there, they cut a swath of just destruction throughout the galaxy that the Jedi and the Republic's army just could not deal with. They had to throw everything they had at Exar and Ulick's armies. And keep in mind, Ulick and Exar were both incredibly powerful, Sith Lords. They were masters of the Force and excellent duelists as well. So, in the time, during their campaign, Ulick and Exar traveled to the Jedi planet of Ossus, which was a giant Jedi temple that contained a lot of the Jedi's knowledge. While there, Ulick encountered his brother, who attempted to get Ulick back on the side of the light, but however Ulick refused, and the two battled until Ulick killed his own brother. Completely distraught by this, Ulick turned back to the side of the light and betrayed Exar. It was from that betrayal and then on that Exar started losing battles. He began losing ground, and from there he was forced all the way back by the Jedi and the Republic army to all the way back to Yavin 4, where he and the remainder of Musashi warriors were kind of cornered. In an act of desperation, Exar proceeded to cast an ancient ritual that would give him more power, and his spirit could live on. He sacrificed all of his remaining Musashi warriors, but however, the Jedi managed to stop his spirit from leaving and trapped him within the temples of Yavin 4, which are still there to this day, at least in the original canon. Who knows, maybe we'll see his spirit in Star Wars Rebels. But yeah, if you've read the extended universe, then you know that Exar Kun showed up and attempted to take control of several Jedi under Luke. Even Luke himself was nearly possessed by Exar Kun, had it not been for a young Jason and Jaina Solo to stop him. So that was the thing with Exar Kun, is that he was a powerful Jedi in life and death. Now, his main form, and this was the form he literally perfected, he studied under, but he's pretty much the master of this form, was Niman. Niman is pretty much a jack-of-all-trades kind of form, as it's been described. You're not exactly excellent at anything, but you're not terrible. You're somewhere in between with all the forms. Also, it's very force-connected. Niman is a very force-connected type form. It allows the user to channel the Force during combat. Many Jedi use this. But Exar was a master of this. Through this, he managed to also... It was also kind of a variation of Jarkai as well, which allowed him to use Double Saber. Speaking of the... not Double Saber, why did I say Double Saber? But yeah, another thing that Exar was best known for was his Saber Staff, which at the time had not been really used. Now, some people had thought that he was the first Jedi to craft a Saber Staff, when really he's technically the second. The first was a Jedi Master who existed during the early days of the Old Republic. Now, the big thing with Exar Kun was that it was such a different weapon that he used. The Saber Staff had never been seen before, and he did use a traditional blue saber. Even though it wasn't exactly under Jedi, it was still considered Jedi colors, and it wasn't technically Sith, he still used it for his own purposes. Eventually, if I remember right, he did eventually change it to red, but in the time, it was still blue. Even after his death, Exar's lightsaber was still imbued with a lot of dark side energy. And whoever held it was more or less... that thing was so corrupted with dark side energy that whoever held it, you're gonna turn to the dark side if you held it, if you kept it. It was literally like the Ring of Sauron. That is the best way I could describe it. It's pretty much like Sauron's ring, in a way. But whether it be either in life or in death, Exar Kun proved that the power of knowledge can be a dangerous thing. With his sheer mastery over the Force and saber skills, this guy nearly brought the Republic to his knees, almost more so than almost to the let me rephrase that, almost to the degree as Revan and Malak did in the past. But make no mistake, Exar Kun is a dangerous threat, and hopefully maybe we'll get to see him, whether it be in Rebels or somewhere down the road in the extended universe, in the new EU novels, but yeah. Anyway, so there you guys go. So you guys tell me, what do you guys think of Exar Kun? You guys like him, hate him? Just comment below, let me know, and once again, hope you all enjoyed this segment of Legends of Evil, and I will see you guys later.